Okay, so you see this flavor everywhere, right? Barbecue sauce, salsas, marinades. But have you ever really stopped and thought, what is a chipotle pepper? We're going to uncover the secret behind this incredibly common pantry staple. So let's just ask it straight up. What is a chipotle, really? Here's a hint. It's not some unique pepper that just grows on a plant. Its origin story is, well, it's actually a complete transformation. And here is the big reveal. It all starts with the pepper you see on the left. That's a jalapeno, but not the green one you're used to. This is a fully ripened red jalapeno. And through this amazing preservation process, it becomes that, the shriveled, smoky pod you see on the right. So let's boil it down. A chipotle is simply a jalapeno that's been left to ripen to red, then smoke-dried. That's it. It's the exact same pepper, just in a totally different and way more flavorful form. Oh, and before we go any further, let's just get the pronunciation right so we're all on the same page. It comes from Spanish, so it's not chipotle, it's chipotle. Say it with me. Chipotle. Perfect. All right, so let's dive into the chipotle's secret identity. Where did this whole idea even come from? Well, the name itself gives us a huge clue. Yeah, the name is a total giveaway. It actually comes to us from the ancient Aztec language, Nahuatl. The word was chilpoctli, and you know what that means? It literally translates to smoked chili. The definition has been hiding in plain sight for centuries. Okay, so that brings up a good question. Why smoke them in the first place? I mean, it's a lot of work. And believe it or not, this wasn't originally about creating some delicious flavor. It was all about survival. This whole technique of smoke-drying food goes way back to ancient Mesoamerica. The Aztecs really perfected it as a way to preserve chilies that would otherwise just spoil. See, the problem with ripe red jalapenos is that they have really thick flesh and hold a lot of moisture. You can't just leave them out in the sun to dry. It doesn't work. So smoking was the genius solution. And thanks to this clever technique, the practice eventually spread from the New World all across the globe. And the modern process still follows those same ancient principles. First, growers let the jalapenos hang out on the vine until the very end of the season. They wait until they turn that deep red color and start to dry out a bit. Then they're put into a smoking chamber for days, literally days, over a low heat. They often use pecan wood, which gives it this amazing flavor. The whole point is to slowly, very slowly, remove all that water, which concentrates the flavor and infuses it with that incredible smoke. I love this quote because it sums it up perfectly. At the end of the process, the chipotles are dried and shriveled like prunes or raisins. I mean, think about that. The transformation is so intense that the final product looks more like a dried fruit than the pepper it started as. All that moisture is just gone, and what's left behind is pure, concentrated flavor. And if you really want to understand just how concentrated that flavor is, get a load of this. It takes about 10 pounds of fresh red jalapenos to make just 1 pound of chipotles. 10 to 1. That is an absolutely incredible flavor density. But wait, it gets even more interesting. Not all chipotles are the same. There are actually two main varieties that you should definitely know about, Morrachio and Morita. So let's break these two down. On one side, you've got the Morita. Its name means small mulberry, which makes sense given its reddish-purple color. These are smoked for less time, so they're a bit milder. This is the one you're almost certainly going to find in the US. Then you have the Mako. This one is lighter, kind of grayish tan. People say it looks like a cigar butt. It's smoked for way longer, which gives it a much smokier, more complex flavor. This is the one that's really popular in Mexico. All right, so how do these little smoky gems actually get from the farm into your kitchen? Let's talk about the different ways you can buy them. You've got a few options. You can find the whole dried pods, which are great for rehydrating. You can get them as crushed flakes or ground up into a fine powder for seasoning. But the form you're probably most familiar with, especially here in the US, is in a can. And they're almost always canned in this amazing stuff called adobo sauce. Now, this is not just some packing liquid. It's this incredible, tangy, spicy marinade made with things like tomato, vinegar, garlic, and other chilies. Honestly, the sauce is so good that a lot of recipes will tell you to use the chipotles and a couple spoonfuls of the adobo sauce they come in. It's a key ingredient all by itself. Okay, let's bring this all home. When you get right down to it, what is the essence of the chipotle? What makes it so special? It really all comes down to this magical combination. You start with that familiar underlying heat of a jalapeno, but then you layer on that deep, rich taste of smoke, and together they create this totally unique, earthy spiciness. It's not just hot, it's complex and full of character. And really, that's the story of the Chipotle. It's pretty amazing when you think about it, isn't it? How does an ancient preservation technique, something born purely out of necessity by the Aztecs centuries ago, become such a modern, global flavor that we all know and love? It's something to think about the next time you taste that signature smoke.